They might even have a secret stash, a bank account, cash tucked away, investment account that the other person doesn't even know exists, that they will never tell them about. Anybody relating yet? When one partner in the relationship is cheap, wants to control every single penny, trust is eroded at an exponential pace. They simply don't trust the other person's judgment. And they have no idea that this is happening. They just think their way is the only way they can get by. When you've grown up seeing your parents struggle financially, even if you didn't understand that they were at the time, you're listening to the Unshackle Your Life podcast with Debbie Colburn, the place to break through all of the hidden things that hold each of us back, things that scare us and things that challenge us, and things we're just plain fed up with. We talk all things money and business, big and small. We dive deep, we get real, and we get raw, discovering and exploring what is really possible for you. It's a restart. If you've ever struggled with shame, worry, or just plain self-doubt, if you've ever thought it's not enough when you looked at your bank account or your credit card, if you're sick and tired of living a cycle of crisis to crisis to crisis, no matter whether it's in your personal life, in your business, or your relationships, then this is where you need to be. We'll bring you new ideas, tips, and tactics, and connect you to the resources to get you unlocking your own shackles and release your unique abilities. No matter what's going on in your life right now, maybe you're in survival mode, just barely getting by, living day-to-day, paycheck to paycheck. Maybe you're in a job or a career or running a business that is leaving you on empty, depleted, uninspired, or anything in between. I've got you back. Ready? So buckle on up, take a deep breath, and join me in a conversation about jump-starting your life and breaking free of your shackles and create that thing that you've been scared to ask for. Welcome to episode 89. It was Christmas, and we're all opening our stockings that had so carefully been hung by the chimney with care. For real, my parents' house has 3 wood fireplaces, and the one in the living room is a classic. Big stones and a big wooden mantle that can easily hold a lot of fully stuffed stockings. And my dad, bless his heart, loves to stuff the stockings. His thing is lingerie. Not in a creepy kind of way. He specifically buys one beautiful piece for each woman in the family. His wife, my mom, daughters, me and my sister, and yes, even my grandma. The most memorable was when the new thongs destined for my mom ended up in my grandma's stocking and the white granny pants in my mom's. But my dad and the whole family is unfazed. Come on, Flo, that's my grandma. They're totally you. And she tries to shake her booty, and then she's got them stretched across in front of her with her arthritic fingers. Memories that live forever. Yet behind the stocking, a stealthy mistruth is lingering, ready to latch onto an unsuspecting mind. This year, he arrives with a milk carton full of brand new windshield wipers, for the car, and asks who'd like a new set of wipers. You can't make this stuff up. See, my dad's a collector, but he has a very definite hoarding characteristic, a carryover from having grown up during the war from the time he was 6 till he turned 12. And over the years, he'd buy bulk lots of things at auctions because they were brand new and a dollar store price. Which, let me just clarify that, which means he'd buy 20 wipers in a box or a carton, and it would be a grand total of $1. I'm reminded of this story because just this year, the deal he could not pass up was men's large white tighty-whities. Not boxers, tighty-whities. And we do not live near the beach in Europe. And he hands me 2 pairs and asks if I think my son could use them. Said son just turned 40, Now, I'm guessing you're shaking your head in disbelief, but here's the thing that I never knew about my dad until a couple of years ago, that his love language is gifts, giving and receiving. Gary Chapman's book, The 5 Love Languages, while published in 1992, when it only sold 8,500 copies, and it literally got almost no traction until 2009. Remember, I talked in another, you'll hear me talk in the next episode about how key timing is to the success of something. Well, in 2009, it hit the New York Publishers bestsellers list and stayed there for a number of years. I found that book in 2014. The words were, "It was cheap, it was on sale, so I bought it for you." My mom's words, as she hands me a brand new t-shirt in a style and a color I would never wear. Self-worth, meaning, and value stories you tell yourself. And I immediately caught a tale of a belief that I'd held for over 50 years, and that was that I was only good enough for things that other people didn't want. See, this t-shirt had a big red clearance tag on it with a price of $6.94. Really? You think I'm only worth $6.94? Canadian, so you guys in the US, that's about $4.80. And I held on to that tail, and I wrapped my fist around it, and I held it up to my face so it could hear me, and I said, "Thank you. That story is BS. It's horse crap. I do not have to accept everything that is given to me." I thanked my mom, gave her a hug, because I know it was done with love, and put the t-shirt on the bottom of my suitcase. When I arrived home, I took it, donated it with love, knowing that it will go to someone for whom it is meant. So sneaky, camouflage like a stick insect, right in plain sight, yet invisible. Think it's just something others do that affect you? Hell no. We do things without thinking that just reinforce the belief that cheap is the only way for us to survive, without having a clue as to why we do it. And being cheap and your net worth is totally unrelated. There are people who are cheapskates, penny pinchers, who have hundreds of thousands, even millions of dollars of net worth. And there are people who are cheapskates and have absolutely nothing. And there are people at every point in between. Cheap is not exactly the same as frugal, in my mind. And maybe I'm splitting hairs here, but I don't think so. There's actually a different definition. Cheap is a habit built from your thinking you aren't really aware of, from things you heard, saw, lived through in your early life, or as a coping mechanism that you've built as a result of something happening in your life that cut your finance flow off at the knees. It's a habit. Frugal is a choice, a deliberate decision to keep specific costs as low and as simple as possible. You have some rules of it. A lifetime of being cheap takes a massive toll on your lifestyle, on your well-being, on your stress tolerance, and on your family and on your relationships. And gotta say, guys, it takes a toll on your health. Think about it. How many people in your circle would say you are cheap? And yet they see you maybe taking big vacations or having something that they'd love to have. But there's tension in your relationship. One partner feels like they have to always ask for permission to buy something, especially if it's something for myself. That's my mom, and that's my brother. They might even have a secret stash, a bank account, cash tucked away, investment account that the other person doesn't even know exists, that they will never tell them about. Anybody relating yet? When one partner in the relationship is cheap, wants to control every single penny, trust is eroded at an exponential pace. They simply don't trust the other person's judgment. and they have no idea that this is happening. They just think their way is the only way they can get by. When you've grown up seeing your parents struggle financially, even if you didn't understand that they were at the time, like the camping adventures the whole family would have in the middle of winter, when they would put up the tent in the only room with a wood stove, and everyone snuggled up to watch a movie, and you didn't realize it was because they couldn't afford to pay the heat bill. Or knowing that when they took everyone to Dairy Queen, that you were only ever allowed to get the small vanilla cone, no chocolate dip, no nuts, and definitely not the medium, the cheapest. Every single time your entire childhood. Yes, I speak from personal experience. Still to today, I never order that for me or for anyone. And maybe it is the steady stream of calls from collection agencies, even long after the statute has expired, or watching them switch cards at the debit machine at the checkout, or even seeing them cut credit cards up. Cheap is so friggin' exhausting. Every single one of us, every single one of you deserves to live a rich life, a life that is jam-packed with richness, not just financial richness, with experience richness, with fulfillment richness, with relationship richness, with business richness, knowledge, that's a big one, knowledge, richness, everything. The two questions that are sitting yet unanswered are, how do I know if I'm really cheap? And what can I do to start changing this? If anyone in your family or friends says that you are cheap in any conversation, then you are cheap. Believe them. If your first inkling when buying anything is to sort by price, look for the cheapest, you are cheap. Good news is that it can be changed, and changing your financial stories is something we talk a lot about in our Breakthrough Navigator program. And if that's something that you're interested in, there's a link to the waitlist in the show notes. Start listening to that voice in your head. What is it saying? Then start creating rules for each area of your life, a manual of sorts, like my books protocol. If it's a book that will move me forward, that will help build a skill, add knowledge in an area I'm focused on, provide inspiration, then as long as it's under $75 US, I can buy it, no questions asked. Same with groceries. I used to buy from the clearance. I'd buy only when something was on sale. I'd pride myself on finding things that were highly reduced down to cost, like a package of deli meats that was 44 cents instead of $7.99. For real. Not one that was on its best before date, just simply overstock. I'd buy 3, 4, 5. Now I buy what I want. If I want to try a new fruit or a veggie, I do. If I want organic instead of non-organic, I do. And you will rarely see any KD in my cart. And you will never see clearance in my cart. Because I know I am worth more than the stuff that other people don't want. Where in your life are you being cheap? And you know deep down, when you allow yourself to be honest with yourself, you are buying stuff that isn't really what you want. Am I right? You already know that your thinking is what drives everything. So we've created this daily affirmation sent to you every day for 90 days that you can unlock every day with intention. So I want you to just pop on over and sign up for free on our website, debbiecolburn.com/unlocktheday.com. So we're here. We're at the end. Time for that question I ask everyone at the end of each episode. Take your time. Give it a little bit of thought. Again, a little different for 2022. What is the best thing that could happen if you unlock just one of your shackles today? Hey, if this podcast got you thinking, please make sure you're subscribed and share it with anyone who needs to hear this. The link is in the show notes, and please drop us a review on whatever podcast player that you're listening on. whether it's Apple Podcasts, whether it's Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, you name it. And make sure that you drop over to our website, debbiecolburn.com/links/ that's DEBBIECOLBOURN.com/links/ to get our brand new 7-day quick action guide and to check out what's coming up in 2022. And please make sure that you're following us on LinkedIn and on Instagram, just to keep you on your toes, has a slightly different name, at MS Debbie Colburn.